Good morning.
Good morning.
How is everybody today on this beautiful day? I just want to welcome you here. My name is Tammy Brown. I'm the Executive Director for the Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention, and we really appreciate you coming out for this important announcement. And I'd like to announce that we're also joined by some of our state senators, Senator Ulysses Curry and Joanne Brown. Oh, Benson, I'm sorry.
Joanne, you missed the opportunity. I got married last year.
You could be part of the Brown team. I'm sorry, Joanne Benson. We also have Delegate Michael Summers, Mayor Keto James from the City of Capitol Heights, and Dwayne Mingo here, who is representing Councilmember Tolles. So we thank all of you for being here. We are here today at a very unique and historical site. We think this site represents not only a site of tragedy, but also a site of hope. The reason for that is 2 years ago, 18-year-old Markel Ross was murdered in a fatal robbery attempt. His death was a tragic loss to his family. He has three of his brothers are here today, and particularly to his mother, Elizabeth, who is also joining us today. Miss Ross, we are so sorry for your loss, and our sympathy goes out to you. But we are honored to have you here and appreciate your strength in being able to be here with us today. We were successful in finding his killer, who was 20-year-old Trayvon Bennett, who was caught and prosecuted. Today we have hope because we are announcing new resources to the county, to Prince George's County State's Attorney's Office to continue to put individuals like Bennett behind bars and to catch violent offenders. This is a partnership with Prince George's County that we appreciate being a part of. I'm joined today by Lieutenant Governor Brown, Prince George's State's Attorney Angela Oshabrooks, Prince George's County Executive Baker, and Prince George's Great Chief, Chief McGall. In fact, as well as our Sheriff High. In fact, the state has unprecedented collaboration and partnerships with local law enforcement. Just this past Monday, Chief McGall was with the governor and I in a roundtable with chiefs around the states where we were strategizing on how we could provide more information, more intelligence, and more resources to law enforcement to combat violent crime. Prince George's County has seen historic lows in violent crime, and we are happy to be able to support their success. With that, I'd like to bring to the podium our Lieutenant Governor, Anthony Brown, who will be able to elaborate on this most recent partnership. Lieutenant Brown?
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Tammy. I want to thank you for your leadership at the Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention, the work that you do, particularly that coordination piece. Tammy spends an extraordinary amount of time in coordinating and establishing and strengthening those partnerships between the state, county, and municipal law enforcement agencies to make sure that we're leveraging the resources, the talents, the experience, and sharing the information among us so that we can be most effective on behalf of the residents of not only Prince George's County, but Marylanders throughout the state. So, Tammy, thank you very much, and I want to thank a few others who I will do during the course of my short remarks. But let me just start by saying that 7 years ago, the governor and I, in partnership with Marylanders, articulated an important strategic goal. And that goal, which was one among a number of goals that we set, was to reduce violent crime in Maryland by 20% by the end of 2012. Some said it couldn't be done. We said watch and participate as we get it done. And we reached that goal. In fact, we surpassed that goal. By the end of last year, we had driven violent crime down by over 26% during that period of time. And we had achieved the lowest rate of violent crime in the state of Maryland that we've seen since 1976. And this would not have been possible had it not been for the effort, the progress, and the results achieved right here in Prince George's County, because it was our county that led the way in crime reduction in Maryland. And it wouldn't have been possible without the work and a great deal of commitment by our partners, County Executive Rashern Baker, who I remember, Rashern, at your inauguration several years ago, the commitment you made to both public education and public safety. You said that you would support the men and women in law enforcement to give them the resources to do the job, and you stood by your commitment since that day, and because of that, we're making progress in Prince George's County. Angela Alsobrook, who has been an extraordinary leader in the state's attorney's office, partnering with the county executive, partnering with law enforcement, you've done a tremendous effort. So we are really pleased to be able to make this announcement today, to be able to offer additional resources to you and your team. But all of this is made possible really on the day-to-day basis by the men and women in law enforcement. Those who put on the uniform, those who wear the badge, those who commit to protecting and serving, defending in our community. So I want to thank Sheriff High, Chief McGaw, and all the men and women in law enforcement for the work that you do in helping us achieve these results. During these difficult economic times, during the last 6 years, we have at the state invested, funded Prince George's County law enforcement on top of what is in the county executive's budget with $95 million since 2007. And I want to thank Senators Joanne Benson, Senator Ulysses Curry, Delegate Michael Summers, and all of the members in the Prince George's County delegation for working with the O'Malley Brown administration, because it's one thing to put it in the budget, it's another thing to make sure it stays in the budget. And you were there along the way to ensure that we were funding at appropriate levels law enforcement efforts in Prince George's County and around the state. So thank you very much. Our work is far from finished, and I think all of us recognize that. We're not done building a better Maryland, a Maryland with an even safer and stronger Prince George's County. Our new goal is now to drive down violent crime through our state by an additional 20% by the year 2018. And to reach that goal, we're going to need to focus on our worst offenders. So today, I'm excited to announce an additional investment of $850,000 in the Prince George's County Strategic Investigation Unit in the Office of the State's Attorney. This is going to fund a dedicated group of men and women who each and every day fight to prevent future violent crimes by focusing on and getting our most dangerous criminals off our streets. This isn't the first time that we've committed resources. This is on top of last year's investment of $350,000, which led to 60 new convictions. And as I stated to the state's attorney just a few minutes ago, I can assure you that in the budget that we submit in Annapolis to the General Assembly in January of 2014 for fiscal year 2015, you will see as much, if not more, than what we're presenting today. So let me say, yeah, that's an applause line, huh, Mr. County Executive? So let me, in conclusion, say that, last year, 372 Marylanders lost their lives to homicide. And while that's the lowest total for our state in 28 years, we know that the loss of even one life is one too many. And one of those 372 Marylanders was 18-year-old Markel Ross, who was shot on his way to school at Central High School here in Capitol Heights. And today, the man accused of taking Markel's life, thanks to the work of the state's attorney and law enforcement, is now in custody. And his mother, Elizabeth, as was mentioned, is joined today, but as well as his three brothers who are here as well. And while our announcement today will not bring back Markel or the other 371 Marylanders who were taken from us senselessly last year, our announcement today, we hope, will inspire a community with law enforcement, with public officials, to do our level best to eliminate this type of senseless tragedy. So, again, I want to thank everyone for their efforts in making our community safe. And with that, let me turn it back over to Tammy Brown. Right? Right. Thank you.
If we could have our state's attorney step to the podium and accept our check and then say a few words.
Oh, we're going to do that like that? Okay,
Okay.
good. Take this big check. Come on, get up here, Mr. County Executive. I know we're going to want to take pictures now.
Great, thank you. Good job.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I tell you, this truly is a wonderful day in Prince George's County. We are so grateful that all of you are present with us here today. I want to begin by saying thank you to the governor, Governor Martin O'Malley. I want to say a special thank you to our Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown and their entire administration for this very generous grant. I want to thank them as well for the tremendous support that they have given us, not only today, but they have been extraordinarily supportive of our office and of our county over the years, and I want to thank them for that. We're here today. I have several of our prosecutors and other members of the state's attorney's office. I want to acknowledge them and thank them for the tremendous work that they do on behalf of the citizens. The dollars that have been given to our office by the state allowed us to hire an additional 12 individuals, which has made a really big impact for us. This includes 6 prosecutors and several other administrative staff, and we really want to say thank you so much for the additional resources. The Lieutenant Governor spoke about the crime reductions that we've experienced in Prince George's County, and we certainly want to just stop and really mention that once again. It has been through the hard work of all of our law enforcement officials and also our prosecutors, where we have enjoyed reductions that have been the lowest that we've seen since about 1985. This is significant, but we are not stopping here. Because we recognize that behind every number that we mention, and we have selected the site here today because it stands in front of the memorial behind us where we recognize the spot where Markel Ross lost his life. And so we are ever cognizant that behind every number is a life, and that is the reason that we are here today and why we chose this particular location. When I was sworn into office in 2011, we made a promise to the citizens of Prince George's County, and that was that we would pursue and aggressively prosecute violent offenders in our county. I believe that we have honored that commitment. We have been very diligent in making sure that the people who live in our county receive the support that they need, and that they rest each night knowing that we are committed to pursuing and prosecuting those who offend and who are violent in our community. The county executive is here, County Executive Baker, who has been a tremendous partner. Chief McGaw is here as well, and I think all of us have shared the same sentiment and belief that our citizens deserve the very best, and that is what we have promised to give them. I want to recognize as well Ms. Ross, who is here today, Elizabeth Ross, who lost her son. And I can say to Ms. Ross that many of us standing here today are parents as well. And we have, your son's life really did impact all of us, motivates each and every one of us, and I can assure you that we will not rest until we continue to bring to justice. We brought to justice Mr. Bennett, but we will bring to justice those who killed your son. Thank you. And again, while this somber location that we recognize here today, we want to just also recognize that we have worked to solve many other cases through the Strategic Investigations Unit, which has been supported here today. For example, we have the case of William Rosales, who was a member of MS-13, and this was a tremendous prosecution that occurred this year. Mr. Rosales was in a park with a group of other MS-13 members when he identified a former MS-13 member who had testified against MS-13 members in federal court. As a result of him identifying that particular individual, he was beaten and stabbed, and he was left to die. We were able to arrest and prosecute Mr. Rosales, even though he was not the person who stabbed and beat this individual, but he participated in the gang and identified another gang member, and we were able to prosecute him. And it was the first time that we were able to convict under the new gang statute in Prince George's County. We received an 11-year sentence for Mr. Rosales, and this was only the second time that we were able to secure such a conviction in the state of Maryland, and it was done here in Prince George's County. And so I want to thank, we have Joseph Ruddy, who is here today. I want to thank him and the rest of his team for their hard work. In addition to that case, we have the case of Henry Saunders. Mr. Saunders was arrested in Prince George's County on a robbery charge, and while he was awaiting his trial and it posted bail, he went out and continued to rob and to severely beat an elderly member of our community. There were a number of robberies. We were able to arrest Mr. Saunders, and at the time that we arrested him, we only had information on one robbery. The Strategic Investigations Unit was able to work along with Prince George's County Police. We worked as well with Montgomery County Police, and after our collaboration, we were able to gain information and enough evidence to prosecute him on every single robbery that he committed, and eventually got a sentence of 115 years for Mr. Saunders, 55 here in Prince George's and 60 in Montgomery County, and so we have certainly brought him to justice. Again, the moral of the story today, I think, is that none of this has happened by accident. This is a very deliberate, collaborative effort. It takes all of us. It includes our county executive, it includes a sheriff and the chief of police, it includes our state partners. Thank you, Mr. Lieutenant Governor. It took our federal partners, and we will not stop until we continue to pursue and to make sure that this sort of violence is no longer a reality in Prince George's County. So, Lieutenant Governor, when you and the governor continue to provide this funding to us, this is what you have helped us to do. We say as well to County Executive Baker, when you continue to provide the funding, which he has done, he's honored his promise to us, and he's continued to fund the police department, these are the results that are possible. And I promise that as long as you continue to partner with us, we will continue to deliver. So thank all of you so much for coming out today. Again, we want to say to Ms. Ross, we are so deeply sorry for your loss, and we're really grateful to have you present with us here today, and thank you.
Thank you, Angela. And you probably don't realize this, but when you first came into office, I was with the Department of Juvenile Services, and I sat down with your staff, in particular your deputy, to talk about a juvenile initiative and our violence prevention initiative. And I was asking them, you know, can you look up the records? How can we better share this information with you all? And Tara kind of looked at me and said, well, Ms. Brown, these are the resources we have. And having come from Baltimore City prior, you know, I realized the disproportionality between the resources that they had and Prince George's County had in the state's attorney's office. So it really gives me great honor to be a part of this announcement today and to support your office. And to see what you've done to this point is pretty remarkable. So thank you. And now I would like to invite to the podium Executive Baker to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, Tammy. Before I get into my very brief remarks, can we give Ms. Ross another round of applause for her courage? You know, I often start off the saying, it's a great day in Prince George's County. And even though we are standing on this site, it is a great day in Prince George's County. The state's attorney has just laid out the things that they've been able to do and the justice to that young man who shot your son. But it's a great day in Prince George's County, Ms. Ross, because you have not let that stop you. You've continued to fight. You've made us aware. You've held us to our responsibility, which is to make Prince George's County the safest place in America. And so I want to thank you for reminding us of what our duty is. I also want to thank, if I can, our state's attorney. There is no individual who has put more of her soul and being into making sure that Prince George's County is not only safe, but that her prosecutors, who she loves to death, have the resources. And oftentimes when we sit at budget meetings, it is hard for Barry Stanton and I to look at and see the work they're doing and not be able to fund them at the level they should be funded at. And this, Mr. Lieutenant Governor, will go a long way. But can we give our state's attorney another round of applause? You know, I want to thank also our Lieutenant Governor and Governor for the funding they're providing. This is a, Lieutenant Governor office says, Team Prince George's County, with our senators, our delegates, and our law enforcement. And we're on like kind of a tour here. A lot of things are going on in the county, and as you notice, the Lieutenant Governor is introducing them. And not for any small measure, but because he has led the effort in Annapolis as we've been trying to get more additional resources to Prince George's County. But today is especially pleasing for us in the county because crime is down. And it would not be so if it was not for the work of great partners. I am blessed, and this county is blessed, to have a sheriff that not only understands how to do his duty as sheriff, but comes with the knowledge of being a police chief and is willing to share that knowledge with all of us and help us, map out strategies. So can we give Sheriff High a round of applause for being a great partner? I know that, our police chief is coming up, and certainly we are very, very proud of the work that he's been able to do, and the men and women of the police department and all of our public safety partners. Barry Stanton and I get to accept accolades for their hard work, but we are mindful that each and every day they put their lives on the line. And so we're pleased with the work that the police chief is doing and the men and women of the police force. We can give them a round of applause. I'm going to close with once again thanking two individuals who have made it possible for us to be here today and made it possible for me to be able to go back to our office and say we're making progress on funding the state's attorney's office. That is our Lieutenant Governor. His willingness to stick his neck out and look at the fact that Prince George's County needs more resources. The state's attorney's office handles some of the largest cases in volumes of any other jurisdiction in this state. And oftentimes that gets overlooked. But he was willing to continue to fight even after the budget process. And the other individual is our state's attorney. There is no one more tenacious than she is. And her sense of fairness and justice, Ms. Ross, and wanting to make sure not only that we get justice for your son, but for your sons who are here today and for other sons and daughters. And as a parent, I am so pleased to have her there fighting, and we would not be here for that hard work. So, Mr. Lieutenant Governor, thank you. We look forward to working with you in the future to continue this great effort, and thank you for today. Thank you.
Thank you, County Executive. And now this man needs no introduction. He's a great partner of mine and somebody that anytime the state needs somebody to hear a voice from law enforcement, whether it's on guns or domestic violence or what other issues we're pressing, we can always count on Chief McGaw.
Well, thank you and good morning. First, I want to begin by just addressing Ms. Ross and Markel's brothers that are here, and just let them know that every day they're in our thoughts and in our prayers. Additionally, our thoughts are with the victims, their families, and the first responders whose lives changed forever after Monday's attack at the Navy Yard in Washington, D.C. It's because of families like these, those struck by tragedy, that we're here today. We want to ensure our community that this police department, the sheriff's department, our state's attorney, our local and state governments are all devoted together to reducing crime in the county. Ms. Alsobrooks mentioned our reductions in crime, and they've been dramatic and consistent over the past 3 consecutive years. But just one event, like the one involved Markel, reinforces the understanding that there's still much work to be done. The support of the state government allows us to continue this fight. It allows our police department, state's attorney's office, sheriff's department to work collaboratively and proactively. The identification, arrest, and prosecution of repeat violent offenders has been one of our mutual core objectives. This funding supports that effort. One of the best examples that I can give is the investigation into the death of Markel. Investigators worked hand in hand with the Sheriff's Department and the State's Attorney's Office to close this horrific and senseless crime. This funding significantly strengthens our State's Attorney's Office's ability to prosecute cases, which strengthens our ability as a community to deter and reduce crime. Prevention is the key to any crime-fighting strategy. This collaborative partnership that we've been talking about all morning, with this partnership, I believe, will continue to drive down crime by addressing issues earlier and ultimately preventing a repeat of what occurred here September of 2012. Lieutenant Governor, thank you for your support and the governor's support. And Ms. Brown, every time we've asked, we had a need, you've always stepped up. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Our last speaker, and probably our most important speaker and the most important voice to hear, is that of Ms. Ross. As a mother of 2 boys, I can't imagine experience that tragic loss, and we are just again so appreciative that you're here to share your story and make everybody realize the importance and the need to combat violence in our communities. Ms. Ross?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I just like to say I thank you all for all the support and all the hard work that you all have been working on Markel Ross's case. I'd like to thank the Mayor Quito, James Quito, the prosecutors, the men in blue and white or gray and white or brown and white. I understand it's a hard job. I really didn't want to come today, but I said I have to. I have to because they have been working very hard for me and my family. And I really appreciate all the support that everyone has given me over the past year. And I'd like to say thank you and have a blessed day.
All right.
Thank you all again for coming.